Okay, good morning, boys and girls. So, we are going to I'm gonna read a story, or not a story. I'm gonna read a text to you that is gonna kind of reinforce or talk about, help us with our learning about matter, and then we are going to use this book, this text, to help us complete this worksheet. Okay. So what I'm going to be grading on, second graders need to be able to use different things in a text, different features to help them with their learning. And so what we're going to focus on today are the photographs in this book. Okay? Photographs can be used and they help us with our understanding. So we'll answer these questions, and then we're going to find some different examples to choose from our reading. Okay. For this part, you can either draw a picture if you want, but if you have a magazine or something at home, ask mom and dad if maybe you can cut a picture out of it, and if you wanted to glue that on there, that would be fine too. Okay, to show an example of a photograph. I'm going to set this aside right now so we can get to our text. It is called Observing and Classifying Matter. So when you're classifying, that is another scientific word. That means we're putting it into a group, okay? Like we're sorting it if it's a gas, if it's a liquid, or if it's a solid, okay? We're deciding what it is and we're putting it in that category. We're classifying it. Okay, the text, we've got a table of contents. So we've got matter, solids, measuring solids, liquids, air, and other gases. Okay, matter. Matter is what all things are made of. All matter takes up space. All matter has mass. These are properties of matter. Size is also a property of matter. Color and shape are other properties. Okay, so a property would be how we describe it, how we describe matter. Okay, our first type of matter, solids. A solid is a form of matter. Some solids are hard, some are soft. Solids are different sizes and colors. Solids have different textures, so texture is how it feels. All solids have shape of their own. You can do things to change the shape. You can bend a solid or break it or cut it, but the shape doesn't change on its own. So it's not going to change by itself. You have to do something to make it change. Measuring solids. You can measure the mass of a solid. A balance helps you measure mass. You can measure the size of a solid. A ruler helps you measure size. A ruler might measure in centimeters, or it might measure in inches. Okay, so this is a really good example. So we've got a couple of photographs here. So when I'm just reading, a ruler might measure in centimeters, or it may measure in inches. Now, I might not know, I have a pretty good idea of how big an inch is. I always guess it's about that big, okay, because I'm pretty familiar with it. I don't measure a lot of things in centimeters. So this photograph is showing me a picture of an actual ruler. It's not a drawing, and it's showing me how they're using it to measure this paper. Okay, it's labeled, so I know that's the ruler. And if I look on there, I can actually see where the centimeters are. And I can see how big the centimeters are. So if I didn't have this picture, I wouldn't know. I might have a hard time visualizing it because it's not something that I'm used to. Okay, so photographs help us with our understanding because they help us visualize. They show us something in real life, what it looks like. Okay, let's keep going. Liquids. A liquid is a form of matter. Liquids do not have a shape of their own. They take the shape of their container. You can measure the volume of a liquid. A measuring cup helps measure volume. It may measure volume in millimeters, or it might measure volume in ounces. So again, I don't know how many of you do cooking, okay? I'm pretty familiar with ounces because I've been paying attention to that with how much water I'm drinking, okay? You may not know what a measuring cup looks like. Well, here's a type of measuring cup. There's a bunch of different kinds. But this one, this photograph of the measuring cup shows you, and it's showing you liquid in there. And it shows you on this side, this is where the ounces are. So if that line was there, it would be 2 ounces, 4 ounces, 6 ounces. It goes right about to that 8 ounces. Okay? Like we just read, the milliliters. I don't use milliliters. What in the world is a millimeter? Well, I can look at this picture. Oh, I see that about 225 milliliters is the same thing as about 8 ounces. Okay, so this picture is showing me what a milliliter is, and it's letting me compare it to what I know. Okay, photographs are really powerful when they're in a book because they really give you a lot more information than what you know on your own. Okay, let's keep reading. Air and other gases. A gas is a form of matter. A gas has no shape of its own. A gas fills its entire container. Okay, so in this photograph, you might be wondering what that means. Well, I can see this guy's got balloons. I know that balloons are filled with air. So I can see that that gas is filling up that whole balloon. Air is made up of gases. You cannot see or smell air, but you can see what air does. Okay, so if you're blowing on the little windmill, I forgot what they're called. It'll spin. Okay, so if you look at a flag and it's a windy day, you can see the air is moving the flag. Okay, and that's the end. So here we have our vocabulary. Look at all these different science words that were in this text. So centimeter was talked about on page 7. Gas was on page 10. Liquid, page 8. Mass, page 2. Matter, page 2. Milliliters, property, solid, texture. That's a good word. Texture, remember, is how something feels. That's on page 4. And then volume is on page 9. Okay, good. So this book is going to help us now with our worksheet. So grab your worksheet. If you need to, hit pause so you can get your supplies. You're going to need a pencil and I'm going to use a marker so it shows up dark. But I want you guys to use pencil. Put your name at the top. Mrs. Holder. Okay. I'm going to come back to this. So here is an example of a photograph. So like I said, talk to mom and dad. Maybe you can cut a photograph out of the newspaper or out of a magazine, or maybe they have one that you can share to put right there and just glue it down with your glue stick. Okay, then now let's go to the writing where we're talking about why the photograph is important in a text. The main purpose of a photograph is what? So what is the point? Why are they putting pictures in here? Okay? Think about it. Now if you can think in your own words why, that's great. If you need to borrow some of my words or to get an idea from me, that's okay too. So the main purpose of a photograph is to show us what the real life object looks like, or to show us what something really looks like, to show us what something really looks like. in the text. Okay, so it's in the writing, and they use the photograph to show us what it really looks like. Like if I was going to write some facts about a horse, I could draw a picture of a horse, but it's not going to give you a really good idea of what a horse really looks like. I mean, you might be able to identify it, but a photograph really shows you in real life what something looks like. Okay, so the main purpose of a photograph is to show us what something really looks like in a text. Okay, so if you need to hit pause, go ahead and then hit play when you're ready to go to this next part. Okay, we found some photograph examples. Okay, so our text is, and we're going to use all three because this is all in the same book. So observe, observing, and classifying matter. Okay, so that's the name of the text. I had to use all three lines because it's a long name. Okay, so now let's find some pictures if you'd like. If you need to hit pause, go ahead. Okay, we're going to find some pictures now, and we're going to see what page number they're on. So let's go to that first one we talked about. Okay, so we have a picture on page 7. So let's write a number 7 there, page 7. And it is a picture of a ruler. And it's showing us how to measure, and it's showing you inches, and it's showing you centimeters. So let's write on page 7, there's a picture of a ruler. Okay, I like how it's labeled. When it has that label on there, it's really showing you what the author wants you to see. Okay, so same thing. If we look at page 6, this picture is showing us a picture of a balance. Okay, so a balance is like a type of scale where you can compare if something weighs more or less. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's put page 6. There's a picture of a balance. And in that picture you can see, well, the boy is putting the objects, the solids, in the different cups. Looks like there's some clay sculpture, and I can't see what he's putting on the other side, but that sculpture weighs a lot. Okay, let's turn the page and let's see if we can find another. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's go to page 9. Oops. Page 9 is showing us a picture of a measuring cup. So measure, we're going to have to write small, measuring cup. And if you need to come down here, you can. Measuring cup. Okay, so when you're done, if you can, put a picture here, then take a picture of this and upload it to Schoology. Okay, and I will be grading this, boys and girls, so really do your best work. Okay? All right. Good job.